Ever seen a guy making 30 grand a month in Manhattan who still needs sleeping pills just to pass out at night, while some small-town carpenter sleeps like a baby every single evening? We've been brainwashed to believe that if you want to be happy, you gotta get a bigger house, a flashier car, a massive network, and some grand title. But psychology shows the exact opposite. The most peaceful people on Earth? They're the ones intentionally shrinking their lives. Sounds crazy, right? But it makes total sense. And once you get the psychological trick behind this, the way you look at career or ambition is gonna change forever. Now, this video isn't telling you to quit your job or dump your dreams. It's gonna crack open a biological mechanism your brain is hiding from you and explain why. The less you have, the more you actually get. First off, let's talk about a trap 99% of us are stuck in, the hedonic treadmill. Put simply, the human brain has this brutally cruel superpower, adaptation. You snag the latest iPhone? Awesome. Get promoted to manager? Sweet. Move into a luxury high-rise? Hell yeah. For the first few weeks, you're walking on clouds. And then what happens? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Your brain quietly hits the reset button. Everything you used to crave just becomes your new normal. And you start looking around thinking, okay, what's next? That's not you being greedy. It's literally how our brains are wired for survival. Humans were built for the chase, not the arrival. The problem is, the bigger your life gets, the further away enough moves. You make 2 grand a month, you want 5. Hit 5, and suddenly you're eyeing the guy making 10. It's a loop that never stops. But the people who choose to live small, they don't lack ambition. They just accidentally stepped off the treadmill. How? Here are 4 psychological reasons that explain it. Reason number 1, more choices, more exhaustion. Picture this. It's Friday night and you open Netflix. Thousands of movies right there. You scroll, watch a trailer, scroll some more. 45 minutes pass. And you still haven't picked a damn thing. In the end, you just shut the TV off and go to bed annoyed. Psychology calls this the paradox of choice. Back in 2000, researchers ran a famous experiment with jam. One display had 24 flavors, another had just 6. The result? The 6 jam display sold 10 times more than the 24 jam one. Why? Because more options don't bring freedom. They bring panic, the fear of making the wrong call. It's the same story in modern life. In a big city, you've got endless paths, thousands of jobs, millions of potential dates on Tinder, endless events to hit up. But what's the tax on that? Your brain is constantly running background software. Did I pick the right thing? Is there someone better out there? What if I tried something else? That constant second-guessing just drains you dry. People living at a smaller scale, though, they have fewer options, fewer places to eat, fewer jobs to hop between, fewer connections wasting their time. Sounds restrictive, right? But that exact constraint is what sets your mind free. It forces you to actually be present. Happiness doesn't happen when you leave every door open. It only shows up when you have the nerve to shut the ones you don't need. Reason number 2, happiness is entirely relative. Psychology calls this social comparison theory. We don't measure ourselves by absolute numbers. We measure ourselves against the people right around us. Take a small-town carpenter making 3 grand a month. Everyone in his circle earns about the same. He feels fine. He feels like he's doing great. Now take a Wall Street guy pulling in 30 grand a month. But he lives in Manhattan, surrounded by dudes making 100K, riding yachts, and flying private. He walks into his apartment every night feeling like an absolute loser. See the bitter irony there? The bigger your world gets, the more you travel, the wider you network, the more you scroll, the more comparison points your brain automatically generates. Back in the day, you only compared yourself to the guy next door. Today, you're comparing your life to 20-year-old TikTok millionaires, influencers perpetually chilling in the Maldives, and old coworkers who just raised millions in venture capital. You're throwing yourself into a game you're guaranteed to lose. People who keep their lives small unknowingly build a shield around themselves. Their network is narrower, so those toxic comparison lenses can't get through as easily. And when you stop comparing, You can finally breathe. Reason number 3. The truth about that 85-year Harvard study. Harvard ran one of the longest-running human development studies in history, the Harvard Study of Adult Development. They tracked hundreds of people from their youth all the way until their hair turned gray, over more than 80 years. They wanted to find out, what single factor is the strongest predictor of a happy, healthy life in old age? Money? Nope. Status? No. Achievements? Not even close. The only answer: the quality of your close relationships. Look at how a big life operates. You've got 2,000 friends on Facebook, a wallet stuffed with business cards, out every night networking, meeting person after person. But when you hit rock bottom at 2 a.m., who can you actually call? A life that's too wide forces a trade-off. You swap depth for breadth. Meanwhile, a small life works the opposite way. Fewer relationships, but ridiculously deep. The same crew you've known since childhood. The same coffee shop every morning for 10 years. The same family dinners every weekend. That repetition, which sounds boring as hell on paper, is the only soil where real connection can actually grow. You just can't build a lifelong bond if you only catch up once a year between flights. Reason number 4, and this is the one almost nobody catches. Happiness is actually a physiological state. Forget all the deep philosophical definitions for a second. Biologically speaking, your body hardwires predictability to safety. A life packed with constant novelty, endless travel, high-stakes decisions, massive goals. Sure, it sounds thrilling. But excitement and calm are nowhere near the same thing. Hey, did you know that biologically your body's reaction to intense excitement and extreme anxiety is almost identical? Heart racing, cortisol spiking, nervous system lit up like a Christmas tree. When you live a life that constantly demands expansion, your body gets locked into a sympathetic state, that full-blown fight-or-flight mode. Over time, that shit just wears you down from the inside out. On the flip side, a routine that's repetitive, highly predictable, and free from unfamiliar chaos, that's what slides your nervous system right into a parasympathetic state: rest, digest, and recover. A massive chunk of what we call inner peace. It isn't some deep thought in your head. It's just your nervous system finally feeling safe. A quiet body is what actually builds a quiet mind. Now, let me pause right here for a second. This analysis does not mean you need to pull the plug on all your dreams. Ambition isn't a crime. Scaling your company isn't a crime. Traveling the world sure as hell isn't a crime either. Tons of people live big, expansive lives and are genuinely happy. The issue was never whether the scale of your life is big or small. The real issue is understanding the actual psychological price tag that comes with scale and making sure you're paying that cost consciously, not just swallowing it blindly because you assumed bigger meant better. We're living in a culture that brainwashes us into believing two things. A small, quiet life equals failure. An expanded, famous life equals success and happiness. That is an insanely expensive lie. The truth is, expanding your life always comes with a psychological tax. More decisions, more comparison, more instability, and less time for what actually matters. If you're fully willing to pay that tax in exchange for achievement, awesome, go for it. But if you're paying that price just because, well, everyone else is doing it, you're just dragging yourself right into a nightmare. So, what does all of this actually mean for you right now? No. Don't go put in your 2 weeks notice tomorrow morning. Don't go ghosting all your friends either. Just start by getting real with yourself. Take a good look back at your life. How many things are you constantly trying to expand just out of pure brain-dead habit? Do you actually need those 50 superficial networking contacts, or do you really just need 3 solid best friends? Do you genuinely enjoy those grueling trips where you hustle every single day just to check off tourist spots, or is your body practically begging for a real, restful week off? Are you keeping way too many doors open all at once, to the point where you never actually walk through a single one? Shrinking your world isn't giving up. Downsizing in so many cases is a smart strategic move. It's about intentionally shutting out the surrounding noise and cutting back on options to make room for what actually carries weight. The happiest people I've ever met? They didn't lack the talent to go bigger. A lot of them went out there, won big, and then intentionally chose to step back. They didn't choose to live small because they couldn't make it big. They chose to live small because they realized something critical. Only when you shrink things down do you get enough breathing room to tap into real depth, true presence, and a very specific kind of peace, the kind that only shows up when you stop chasing. And finally, allow yourself to arrive. What about you? What does enough look like for you right now? Drop a comment down below and let me know. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next Deep Shift video.